Just in, Princess Leonor's last military step shocks Europe. Just hours ago, Europe witnessed a moment no one saw coming. Princess Leonor's last military step, one single step, brought commanders to silence, shattered protocol, and sent shockwaves from Madrid to Copenhagen. But what Europe didn't see is the real reason behind that step. And why Leonor made it only after reading a message that could change the monarchy forever. If you missed today's ceremony, you didn't just miss a military moment. You missed the moment the heir to the Spanish crown, Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor, Leonor de Bourbon, Leonor of Austria, stepped into a role bigger, heavier, and more defining than any drill or command. The parade ground was silent. The flag stiffened in the winter air. The commanders stood rigid. Even Europe's royal watchers seemed to hold their breath. And then it happened. Leonor took her final step. The last military step of her training. The one she had practiced hundreds of times. But today, it meant something else entirely. Because that step wasn't ceremonial. It was a message, a declaration, a revelation. Europe felt it. Spain felt it. And soon, the world would know why. Hours before the ceremony, palace insiders confirmed that Leonor received a sealed message from King Felipe VI. It wasn't a speech. It wasn't a reminder of protocol. It wasn't an order. It was a confession. A deeply personal message from a king who knows the weight his daughter now carries. Reporters close to Zarzuela Palace claim the letter contained one emotional line. "Your step today decides the future more than mine ever did." Leonor's reaction was quiet, but her aide noticed her swallow hard, close her eyes, and fold the page with trembling fingers. She tucked the letter into her uniform. She took a breath. And she walked out to the parade ground with a new purpose. A deeper resolve. And Europe had no idea what was about to unfold. Commanders who have trained Leonor from day one said they had never seen her walk the way she walked today. Not with the stiffness of protocol, but with the gravity of destiny. One commander later confessed during a private briefing. In that moment, she didn't look like a cadet finishing her training. She looked like a queen preparing to rise. Europe's analysts were quick to respond. Royal commentators in the UK called it the most symbolic royal military moment since Princess Elizabeth trained during World War II. Denmark's press compared it to the first step Crown Prince Christian took after being declared Prince Regent. But Spain called it something else. El Paso que cambia todo. The step that changes everything. The step itself lasted less than a second. But the meaning behind it unfolded in layers. Here's what viewers saw. Leonor standing at attention, her chin lifted, her boots aligned, her eyes fixed forward. Then, she took one step. But the truth is more complex. Because protocol requires a simple, straight, unbroken step. Leonor did something subtly different. She paused half a beat, shifted her weight deliberately, looked toward her fellow cadets. And then she stepped. That half-second pause, that tiny, unplanned, silent moment, is what shook Europe. Why? Because in military language, a pause before the last step is a symbolic gesture. It means you are stepping from one life into another. And Leonor knew exactly what she was doing. Behind her, cadets who trained with her for months tried to keep composure. But several couldn't. One cadet, who had gone through survival training with Leonor, later said, "The moment she lifted her foot, I felt like I was watching history walk past me." Another said, "She didn't step like a future queen. She stepped like someone prepared to defend us." This clip instantly went viral across Spain, Denmark, Belgium, the UK, and France. The trending keywords tonight: Leonor last step, future queen step, Europe shocked Leonor, Leonor military moment, Spain emotional salute. This wasn't a trend. It was a wave that Europe wasn't prepared for. Queen Letizia was watching from the royal box. But cameras caught something rare, something emotional, something that Spain hasn't seen in years. Letizia's eyes shimmered. She didn't hide it. She wasn't performing. She was simply a mother watching her daughter cross a threshold she had spent years preparing her for. One royal commentator said, "The moment Queen Letizia's eyes filled, you could feel the crown shift forward." And King Felipe, he looked at his daughter not as a king, but as a father who has spent decades shaping her into the leader she must become. And yet, Only Leonor knew what she would do next. Because her step wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Right after taking her last step, Leonor should have held formation. But she didn't. She turned slightly, just enough for sharp-eyed generals to notice. She glanced back at the cadets behind her. And she gave a subtle nod. A nod that said, "I didn't rise alone." This gesture spread across royal commentators like wildfire. Because it broke protocol. But it didn't disrespect it. It honored it. It humanized it. It transformed a rigid ceremony into a moment of unity, humility, and unexpected emotion. And Europe felt it. Within minutes of the ceremony ending, BBC released a breaking headline. Danish networks ran emergency commentary. France 24 labeled it, a defining moment in Europe's royal future. Social media exploded with edits, slow-motion breakdowns, and emotional reactions. The world saw more than a step. They saw a new archetype of royalty. A disciplined soldier, a compassionate daughter, a prepared heir, a future queen. And Europe began asking a question. Is Princess Leonor closer to the throne than we've been told? Insiders confirmed that immediately after the ceremony, Leonor was escorted to a private room inside the academy. Waiting for her, King Felipe, Queen Letizia, two senior advisors. This was not a congratulation meeting. This was an initiation. This was the start of Leonor's pre-accession phase, where she begins training for the throne at the highest levels. Beyond military, beyond protocol, beyond what the public normally sees. A source close to the palace said, "The last step she took today was symbolic. Because her next steps will be the ones that lead to the crown." Spain today is not just proud. It is awakened. A monarchy long accused of being distant suddenly feels human, emotional, present. Leonor didn't step like royalty. She stepped like responsibility. And Spain saw it. Europe felt it. The world recognized it. This moment, this simple last step, marks the beginning of a new chapter in the history of the House of Bourbon. One shaped by strength, emotion, discipline, and humanity. So as the sun set over the academy today, Spain didn't just say goodbye to Leonor's military phase. It witnessed the rise of something bigger. A young woman stepping into her destiny. A future queen taking her first step toward leadership. A royal figure who blends tradition with heart. Princess Leonor's last military step didn't shock Europe because it was perfect. It shocked Europe because it was real. And this is only the beginning. Only 1 in 10 viewers here is subscribed. If you love Leonor's story, join the community.